I'm now joined in the studio by Bongiwe Pityi, the General Manager of OR Tambo International Airport. Thanks so much for your time on SABC News. How do we characterize the state of the aviation industry in South Africa now?
The aviation industry remains very important in this country. According to a study that was conducted way back in 2014 by Oxford Economics, which was commissioned by the International Airlines Association, that year, the air transport sector had contributed no less than 230,000 jobs, made up of direct and indirect, and it accounted for almost 3.5% to the GDP of the country, which I can loosely translate to 168 billion rands. So, as it relates to our Tambo International Airport, for example, just for the year 2017-18 alone, we contributed no less than 5.6 billion rands to the country's GDP. We supported no less than 5,500 jobs. Which therefore means that the state of play is such that in spite of a weak economic climate, most companies or most businesses within aviation continue to be sustainable, and therefore, I think we continue to contribute to the fiscus as well as the support to reduce the employment rate.
State-owned entities and companies in South Africa are a big talking point at the moment. AXA is one of the few that seems to consistently get good press and awards for OR Tambo and other things as well. Why is that?
As it relates to our company, Airports Company South Africa, we have a solid team of executives. When you look at our airports, we have general managers that are very experienced. If I were to just reflect on OR Tambo, King Shaka and Cape Town alone, which are our flagship airports out of the 9 that we look after, amongst the 3 of us, we have no less than 70 years worth of experience. So I can really attribute it to solid experience, as well as I think teams that really are quite, are quite capable in terms of what we have to do. And last but not least, we are a highly regulated industry. And therefore, I think the need to always comply has made us to really be sharp at what we do.
There's a lot of talk about privatization of state-owned companies now. We know that there's rumors and persistent allegations that there's going to be some form of privatization at Eskom. AXA was partially privatized in 1998. Do you think that that is a solution for state-owned companies that are struggling at the moment?
I would not think that. Certainly, I'm not qualified to render an opinion on SOEs in general. But for us, it worked. The first equity investor in our business was Aeroporti di Roma, which brought in skills that we required at that time. And when they de-invested out of South Africa, we then had the PIC taking over that 20% equity. And for us, it works. But I think still being majority owned by the South African government, it's what we obviously are committed to until we're told otherwise.
The Auditor General released a report that said there was over 500 million rand in irregular expenditure at AXA. So that's a blight on that good news that we've spoken about and the reputation of AXA.
Yeah. So that irregular expenditure, it's not theft of money. It really is around contract management. It's in instances where contracts have expired, and we obviously sometimes have not had necessarily the time to renew them. Or if we do, we do not get the right response from market. So it's a combination of such things, but it's not theft of monies.
And as we wrap up, how is OR Tambo preparing for an influx of people in the festive season this year?
We are expecting between this Friday and end of January, we're expecting no less than 4 million passengers just for this period. So it therefore meant that us as an airport community, we needed to ensure that we first conduct a risk assessment, also look at lessons learned from the same period last year, and over and above that, develop contingency plans that speak to how we're going to resource ourselves and how we're going to ensure that we are really overcapacitated in terms of looking at all areas wherein there are prevailing risks, not just at OR Tambo, but within the aviation sector in general.
Bongiwe Pityi, the General Manager of OR Tambo International Airport, thanks so much for your time on SABC News. It's time for a short break. I have your international business news after this.